Okay, now that everybody's here, call the meeting to order. Anybody want to recite the pledge of allegiance? If not, approve the agenda. No additions or corrections to the agenda. Anyone want to make a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by Bernard, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dr. Roll. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. Approve the consent agenda. School board committee minutes, financial activity, bills. Questions or concerns?
So the activity fund, we don't set budget for that, so that's why it all includes. Because it's, yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Johnson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Public comments.
I declare my vote for one of the things I brought up last month was around credentials of our special ed, and I appreciate Mr. Camp giving me some response to that. But I still wasn't quite clear on what is the process so that that individual would potentially be their own teacher of record, let's say, versus, and I get that this is a across North Dakota issue. You brought that up. I've gotten other responses from that as well by doing some, trying to learn more on it. But with that, I would think that we would have maybe some potential process in place that says, you know, there's a timeline or an expectation for this individual to get, so that we're not necessarily relying on someone else for a teacher of record. And again, I'm not as involved with that, but my question would also come in, are we putting anybody at risk by doing that? I'm curious how that's handled. So let's say if something comes about and that individual, parent or whoever has a concern, and the one that's doing the classes versus the one that's signing off, I'll say, on these, and there's a discrepancy or an issue or whatever, what is that expectation? To me, from what I've learned, and again, I'm not deep into it like you guys, that looks like it's a potential risk to the individual that we're putting that, I won't say burden, because it's not a burden, we need it, I understand that. But I don't know how we're progressing to get that individual to what they can do to be able to teach those remedial classes.
We've been working with John Porter and South Valley Special Ed Co-op. We've been working with Licensing Bureau in North Dakota. We think there's some coding issues, but at the same point in time, we're trying to figure out exactly what praxis tests need to be taken.
And so is there like a timeline?
Well,
Just depending on what you learn.
we're still waiting to hear from the state of North Dakota because Mayville State said, hey, you should have this on your license, and it's not. And so there's a coding issue between, and we've heard nothing. We've been working on it for, since when I started.
Okay.
Yep.
So then my next one, I'll say, comes back to the contract. I brought that issue up as well as far as our superintendent's contract, and I believe I said before, it's like over 14% base pay raise. So I put that into a spreadsheet, trying to understand that better, and technically, if you look at it, it comes out to on a base pay about a 16, I have 0.8% on the base. I get the overall package is around 5%. But I think we can all agree that when it comes down to it, what's really important is the base pay, TFFR, and social security. That's really what we care about in life, right? That's my own opinion, but saying that, granted, the overall package might not have come out to 5%, but even if you would have put a 5% on the base pay, similar to what other admin are getting, you're still gonna be at higher, and how are we gonna sustain a TFFR and a social security at that high of a rate? Because knowing we're going to get increases carried on, did we think that through? The other thing that was brought to my attention, that was made a comment, Chris, you had brought to my attention that if we didn't give that 18,000 on the base pay, it was just gonna be a waste to the district. I will say I strongly disagree with that, because again, insurance is a privilege, it's not an entitlement, it's a choice. So if they're going from family down to a single, to me, that is a district savings, and that money could have been utilized somewhere else within our budgetary needs. Still being able to give the same increase that any other individual was getting in the admin side and putting them into par. I also understand some of the response I got that was a little disheartening to me was that Mr. DeCamp was very transparent, saying he took a very low range coming in. I understand that. I don't know what his history is for superintendent experience. But within a year, I'm not saying he hasn't done great things. We've seen it. I will say I don't think it's comparable to our last superintendent, excluding Mr. Rick, who came in as an interim, because I think we all know Mr. Morrison probably wasn't up to par in the first place, so it's more of a catch-up in my opinion. So great things are happening. I'm not denying that. But what's frustrating is some of the comments that I did receive was the fact that he does plan to retire from here. That's great to hear. That is great to hear. The investment in the community, I challenge a little bit myself, because I don't see that involvement in the community, and I guess I expect that from the superintendent. Again, I'm speaking for myself. With that, then, if you look at hearing about how getting closer to retirement, I like Wyndmere, and I've got TFFR to worry about, my TRA to worry about. I mean, all the things I just mentioned are very important. You've made that very clear. However, also when I hear, if I didn't get that on my base, trust me, I would be looking. I didn't appreciate the comment. It was very disheartening. Didn't show the investment in the community as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think that was exactly how I said it.
Would you like me to read exactly what you said? I have no problem doing it.
Sure.
And I have copies of this for anybody that's willing. It says, even though I may have received a 14.4% increase in my base pay, overall it was only a 5.24. Don't deny that. Agree with that. If the board would have declined my ask and offered the 4% base raise, salary raise, I can assure you, these are your words,
Yep.
I would keep the family health, dental, and vision and have my wife double covered. Okay, that's your choice, again, always, my opinion. And would definitely be listening to others' offers as they come forward.
Which
That's
they-
very disheartening.
Which they have through this past school year.
I'm not denying that. But to me, as a taxpayer and where we're at, that doesn't sound like I have a superintendent that's invested in this school. Again, just a concern. So, going back to that, where the base pay was, I don't know how that came out, how you guys all figured that out. But I also asked about if it was setting a precedence, and I was told that it was, when in fact I don't believe the precedence is set. Because I don't believe the teachers get it on their base salary, because that would increase TFFR, that would increase social security. Do they get a paid out? My understanding is, per paycheck, they get an increase. That is not the same case that we did with our superintendent, at a much higher volume that we see at our teachers' rate. So that's my concern. I don't know if you have a response, I'm okay if you wanna wait and get one, but I think deservingly, I don't think it's quite clear on if we're all on the same page here when it comes to that perspective. That's all one other, sorry. I noticed on the negotiations, I'm just asking, is there a conflict of interest if you are still on that negotiations now that you have a family member that is directly related to that, so,
We're gonna get to
fair
that.
enough. Thank you for listening.
Anybody else? Board comments. Correspondence, none. Old business. School school board meeting schedule. We get everything worked out. Anybody have issues with those dates and times? We wanna make a motion to approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve the schedule.
Motion by Dotson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bernard, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Oh, fastest meeting. in the adjourn. Nominations for president.
Okay, so I'll call the meeting to order. So what I'm looking for now are nominations for president.
I nominate Chris Bush for president of the board.
That's
Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? I would call for, a vote. Johnson,
yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Lindstrom.
Yes.
Okay. Call for nominations for vice president.
I nominate Melissa.
Nomination for Melissa, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bernard. Is there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? I gotta say it 3 times, sorry. Are there any other nominations? With no other nominations, call a vote. Manstrom,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Johnson, you wanna vote for yourself? Bush, yes. New business. Leave of absent change request.
So, we have some good news. Mrs. Ilias was able to secure daycare a little bit sooner than was expected. And so she would like to rescind her leave of absence through the remainder of the entire, first semester. And would like to do an emergency leave, which would have her come back on, November 12th. We would have Mrs. Kahodik, who is our current title teacher, but she's also trained and uses the science of reading daily with her students, and understands the phonics space, and so we would have her cover first grade through that leave. And then we have Mrs. Haberman that's willing to take the long-term sub position and work in title, which is more related to her background and licensure as well, so it's a pretty good fit to, cover this, if we would rescind her leave of absence and allow the emergency leave, I think we got everything covered.
Is Mrs. Haberman Heather or?
Yes.
So do you need to vote on that?
Yeah,
Rescind?
we'll need a motion to rescind.
I'll make a motion to rescind it.
Motion by Manstrom, is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll
Second.
second.
Second by Bernard. Roll call vote, Manstrom,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Bush, yes.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
Bernard. Elementary music teacher update.
We have unturned about almost every stone, we got one more that we're kind of working on right now, to see where they're at, to be able to come in and help us with the elementary music program. We would definitely prefer to find someone for sure, to work alongside Callie in the music department. There'll be an admin meeting if this person chooses not to apply. Because then I think we've kind of ran out of options and we'll have to look at Callie on what would go forward.
Is that something, since you're here, I'm just gonna talk right to you, is that something that works in your schedule?
We'd have to move a
for
couple.
short term?
Yeah, we'd have to move a couple of things, like a leadership class and the seventh grade skills class that I'm down to teach this year would have to be taken out, or given to somebody else most likely. But otherwise, I did teach K-12 in the past for 6 years, at North Sargent, so it's something I'm qualified to do. And usually when Russ had class, I didn't have class, and so our schedule worked out since we used the same room, so it's feasible. And like I said, or like I told the admin, it's not the best scenario in the world to do everything, the burnout's very quick, but I'd be willing to do it short term if we needed to, so.
And I think the plan would be to repost again right after the first of the year next year.
Sure.
Does that affect elementary scheduling?
We try to keep it as consistent as we can.
So the short term, Jay, is, a part-time, half-time until we find, potentially a full-time or a half-time.
We have it posted both ways. We do have an option that, part-time 3 days a week, and, or they, just, it depends on getting someone, and they need full-time, they would be, in-school sub, which I guarantee you, we would put them to work the other 2 days a week. They would be the first person that would be subbing.
Any questions, concerns, any update? If not, committee appointments. Co-op extracurricular was me and Dave. Anybody interested? John?
I respectfully pass that one, as I did my prior years.
I did it last time for that year I was on it, so I can do that one.
Okay. Curriculum technology, strategic planning is Melissa and Ally. You two, anybody wanna jump on that, or you want it back?
I would like it back if I can have it.
We'll go with that. Negotiation and finance, everybody knows that Hunter's not working here. It's me and Melissa. Who else wants to be on it? Or has a problem with me on
I've got the same issue.
Still want to. Sorry.
You want rock, paper, scissors for down there, or should I just,
I can do it, I don't know anything about it, so it's gonna be a hard learning curve.
And Ally, I would just say, like, the only other thing I would say, and just for the board to consider, is with the shift in how we move to doing negotiations, like we come to this table first, right? The parameters
Yep.
around what we can move to are set at this table. Then we go back to negotiations, understanding that, and, you know, there's multiple individuals involved, and then it comes back and it has to ultimately be approved by the board. So I have no concerns either way, really, is my point,
Right.
right? Like, whatever that looks like, I just feel like we do have a process that is fair and vets that appropriately and provides some checks and balances where I don't see there being a big concern, but that.
I never put it to a vote, I just let it go. I mean, I could ask the board to vote for it, but if everybody's okay, not good.
Can you clarify what was just said, because I'm not sure I followed exactly where you're at.
You want,
Who's on the board, who's on that negotiation? Okay.
she was just explaining because of the checks and
Understood.
balances the board has. couldn't do anything, John couldn't do anything, the board would approve. Policy evaluation, personal health, wellness. Melissa and Hallie, you wanna be on them all?
Nope, somebody else can take that one from me.
I'll be on it with Melissa.
Whole pile when you start doing it.
Oh, right.
Ooh, just in time.
Funny you didn't say that before.
Building committee, facilities, equipment, food service, transportation.
I would like to stay on that one.
Karen and Dave were on it.
I would like to serve on that one.
This other CTC. Cause Dave Pitts already talked with John about it, just cause we have a meeting Wednesday, and they needed a name, so we're kinda already appointed him, so if you wanted it, too late. John's got it.
I served on that one before, so.
Yeah.
All yours.
Community center liaison. Who's Kara Bernard? You up for that one again? Education Foundation. Fine with that one, if Kara's fine with it, unless somebody wants on it. Anybody have any questions, concerns on the appointees? Need a motion to approve appointees.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Johnson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bernard. Roll call vote, Johnson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Datsrod,
Yes.
Manstrom,
Yes.
motion approved. Motion to select official newspaper. It's been the News Monitor.
I'll make the motion, we utilize News Monitor.
Motion by Manstrom, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Datsrod, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to select official depository for school funds is Lincoln State Bank.
I'll make a motion to keep it stable.
Motion by Bernard, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Datsrod, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Motion to select Lanier Public Schools legal representation, Smith and Straight. We changed to School Board Association also last year.
Yes, we did, I missed
Okay.
that on the minutes.
So we are able to use, yeah, we are able to use both, and last year we changed it to Smith and Strady and the North Dakota School Board Association. Which I will have to check with Amy again, being her role there is doubled.
She is still their attorney as well, but they have another attorney on board too, so.
Okay.
And I think they're looking at doing that more.
Okay. So,
I'll make a motion for Smith and Strangey and School Board Association. Is that what you're looking for?
yes,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion, please.
motion by Dotson, second by Manstrom, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Motion to approve Lincoln State Bank pledge of assets. They do have us covered. So,
I'll make a motion to approve. Lincoln State Bank.
motion by Johnson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bernard, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Appoint business manager. That would be a motion, right?
There's a bunch of appointments and then you just do a motion and at the end look here for the
Yeah.
appointees.
So, appointment of Sherry Atman as business manager. Appoint title, 504 ADA coordinator has always been our superintendent. Title 1, Title 2 representative, superintendent. Appoint representative South Valley Special Ed Board, and our superintendent. Title 2D homeless liaison is our elementary principal. And that's all of the appointments.
Make a motion to approve the appointees as stated.
Motion by Dotson to approve the appointees, is there a second? Second by Bernard, all in favor, aye,
Aye.
opposed, nay,
That should be a roll
oh,
call, sorry,
yeah,
appointees should be roll call.
roll call, Bernard,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Manstrom,
Yes.
Bush, yes. Motion to designate officials to sign checks, business manager and board president. You wanna make that motion or wanna make a change?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Johnson, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Manstrom. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
That's why I
These are all-
hesitated, I was like. should I
These are
roll?
all gonna be roll call, I think, from the rest
Yeah.
of the, yes.
The only reason I was gonna do it, cause I'm on it, I was like, I should roll call this one,
Yeah.
cause it's for me.
Yes, yep.
Manstrom,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Johnson, Bernard,
Yes.
Bush, yes. Sorry.
Basically making money out of it.
Yeah, I looked at it and went, I was just trying to speed it up. Motion to approve preliminary general fund revenue levy. 1,089,272.
I'll make a motion to approve that preliminary general fund revenue in the amount stated.
Motion by Johnson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Menard. Roll call vote, Johnson,
Yes.
Menard,
Yes.
Manstrom,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Bush, yes. Motion passes. Motion to approve preliminary building fund revenue levy, 311,220.
Chris, I got a question. Does that represent all 20 mills? We need to
It
vote.
does.
We make the decision in November.
Yeah,
Yes.
we
Okay.
set it to
Alright.
the max right now.
Alright.
I'm
Yep.
just gonna explain that, thanks for bringing it up. Cause we got a few people, we're setting it to the max, if we don't set it to the max, we can't set it there later. So we set it there now, and then whatever we need, we bring it down. So in November, we'll talk about it again and figure out what we need, and then set it to that. But when we figure out what we need in November, we can't up. So if we don't take it now, if we budget right now 8 mills, we're stuck at 8, and we can't go the extra 2, so that's
we could
why
just-
we max it.
We could decide to budget 8 later or 6 or.
Yep, whenever we
10, so
finalize our
yes.
budget in November, then we'll either leave it at that or go, we can pay this with 9, or we can do this with 8, and then we set it. Same with a couple more that we're gonna go through.
And can I add one more thing, Chris? Being we set that in November, our board meeting falls after this measure, property tax measure, so we will know where things sit potentially then, go forward.
Actually, our final is June before, so we have to set the final in September.
Oh.
September is, no,
if they pass that measure, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Right. I just made a few phone calls this morning, yeah,
So,
Yeah, there's no plan for schools.
no.
no, well, local, small
We
town
will continue
communities
to
will-
potentially receive the 10, because that's part of our levy, but.
Absolutely. Okay,
Oh,
That one?
what's that?
Don't we need a motion for that one?
I'm sorry, I exited off while we were talking. Any motion to approve the preliminary building fund revenue levy to 311,220.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dotson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bernard. Roll call vote. Dotson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Manstrom,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. I somehow missed the preliminary general fund second, who seconded the, sorry. Thank you. I apologize. Thought I put it in there.
Motion to approve the 24-25 preliminary miscellaneous fund revenue levy of 155,610. And there again, that's the max. So we're just setting it to the max and then hopefully, we don't panic people.
Does the miscellaneous fund revenue, can that go into the general fund then?
Yes, that one
It gets
is.
deposited in the general.
Okay.
fund.
I would just, well, I mean, you already approved it, but just so everybody here knows too, the building fund revenue levy, that 311 includes the special assessment amount too. So that's why it's so significant.
Is there a motion to approve the preliminary miscellaneous fund revenue levy?
I'll move.
Motion by Manstrom. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dotson. Roll call vote, Manstrom,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Bush, yes. Motion to approve the 24-25 preliminary special assessment revenue levy at 163,433. And this is the one that is
That's
set.
the one, yeah, that's the one, sorry, not the building fund.
Yeah, this is the one that's set. This is what our specials cost for the city upgrade. So it was 9.5 million or something.
Well, it depended on what.
Yeah, it was 10, or it
Yeah.
dropped a half a mil
Yeah,
because a mill value raised, so. Anybody like to make a motion to approve the preliminary special assessment revenue of 163,433?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Bernard, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Johnson, roll call vote, Bernard,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Manstrom.
Yes.
Bush, yes. Motion to approve the preliminary building fund expenditure budget, 310,151.
No, you missed one.
Did I?
Just the general one.
They all look the same. Motion to approve the preliminary general fund expenditure budget of $4,588,092. That's the one that has them all together.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Johnson, is there a second?
Second it.
Second by Manstrom, roll call vote, Johnson,
Yes.
Manstrom,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
yes. Excuse me. Motion to approve the preliminary building fund expenditure budget of 310,151.
So does it matter that it's not the same as what you're motioning to approve for your budget building fund?
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yes, so the reason that they are not equal is because, as Chris said before, we can't change it. We can't change the levy, you know,
Right.
what we're bringing in
Right.
after this meeting. We can't make it go higher, so we're maxing that out to wait and see what we get back for bids on all the things that
Okay.
you guys approved at the last meeting.
Yep.
And then hopefully we can lower the building fund levy.
Okay,
That is our utmost hope.
Yeah, we don't have the hard numbers yet, so
Yeah.
we just gotta go high and drop it, we can't change it after. If we got bids for things that were way higher, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Bernard, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dotson, roll call vote, Bernard,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yeah.
Manstrom,
Yes.
Bush yes. Motion to set the school board payment.
Was last time, when was that, when Dave left, or we increased it since then? How long has it been around? 6 years?
You increased it while I was on there.
Hmm?
We increased it last time I was on there.
Did we? I think it was 5.
So that was like,
That was the one Dave left, yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, that was
Yeah.
fine.
they left,
Yeah.
yeah. Would have been the same two days.
I don't know.
5 years.
5 to 6 years. We have comparison.
I don't know what other schools are, names are going.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's all over the board, some are a flat fee for the whole year, so they don't pay premiums, some are 50, some are 150, I mean, the bigger schools are
Mhm.
150, so it's,
Yes, I personally feel like with everything we're going through budgeting, I'm fine leaving it where it's at. And not increasing the big bucks.
So I hear that as a motion.
I make a motion to leave it at $75 a meeting.
Do we need a motion if we don't change?
So, I finally make a motion.
no, you know,
As I said it, I was like, ah, wait.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing it anyway, but we don't
Okay.
need it if we're not changing. Moving on. Motion to set 24-25 substitute teacher pay $140 a day plus lunch.
In talking with Hankinson, Ridgerwood, and Milner, all four of us are kind of in agreement that our substitutes seem very pleased at 140, and we're all kind of we think that we can maintain where we're at 140 at this time.
We don't have issues getting subs.
It's been better.
There again, if we're not changing.
Issues with fighting for other subs?
Yeah, it's, mostly it's a numbers game than anything else. Who gets one first?
yeah, if you're not changing, you don't have a motion.
Motion to set 24-25 school meal prices.
So I've been, a lot of conversations with local schools, us, Hankinson, Ridgerwood, Milner, are all setting their prices tonight, so I don't have any info on what they're looking at. Ridgerwood and Milner were also over budget last year. Following state guidelines, if the school was over budget, we do have to set our meal prices, but we have to increase by 10 cents. Kindred was also over budget. They substantially, I believe they were at 25 cents, they were at a large deficit. Looking at this was really unique, when I noticed that they're gonna be increasing our payments on some meals from federal and state. And so then as I'm doing this, looking at all of our numbers, I didn't realize, and that's on me, but last year, the state actually reduced, and the federal government reduced our payback for meals, and it was substantial. We went from 2022 and 2023 getting $4.41 for reimbursement on a free meal to $4.33. Now that's gonna be increased back to $4.52, which is a 19-cent increase. So, this is another example. In 22-23, we received 85 cents for a full paid meal from the state. Last year, it was 48 cents. And now this year it's going up 3 cents to 51 cents, so still not back to where it was, in 22-23. So it's, a lot of schools are crunching their numbers to see where they're at. It sounds like most schools, are looking at 10-cent increase on lunch and breakfast, which is what us and Lizard and Milling will have to do because we're over budget. So last year we were $3.25 for lunch for, $3.25 for 7 through 12 for lunch, $3 for K-6, and $1.85 for everybody for breakfast. The adult used to be 85 cents higher than the highest rate, now it's up to 96 cents higher for lunch and 39 cents for breakfast. And that North Dakota average lunch price is $3.08 being charged. So,
So if we do just the 10-cent increase, as I have no idea how many lunches we served, how does that help us out with our deficit on?
well, we're just gonna have to be more creative. And the problem is we have no control over the food prices.
Well, I know, and I
mean,
get it.
I think we went 2.5 weeks last year where we had to go buy jugs of milk because we had a milk shortage and we couldn't get 2% milk. And so now we're buying 2% milk in jugs at retail. I mean, that was a huge expense, and then the food truck that comes off the truck, we have no control over it.
Right.
It just continued to go up and up and up. But we're gonna have to, I mean, there might be some days where we don't always have two options. We just have to go with some fan favorites and just offer one.
So if I heard you right, we're getting 19 cents from the state more than we got last year.
Yes,
Is that across the board?
no, that's for lunch.
Okay.
Not across the board. If they are full pay, it's only a 3% increase, it would be reduced, and free lunch, that would be 19% or 19 cents more. Last year, they also had an exempt on state reduced and reduced, which means we should have been charging them 40 cents, but they did an exempt and didn't charge them anything because the state exempted everything, and so that's revenue we did not collect either. Right now, we're not seeing that word exempt in anything, so we're hoping that at least we can charge the 40 cents for reduced as well.
Okay. So the K through 12 lunch is a 19-cent increase, but breakfast is different?
Yeah, breakfast would be 9 cents for free, 8 cents for state reduced, and 1 cent on full pay increase.
So on full pay, if we increase 10 cents, it's like increasing 11 cents because we get a penny from the state. You wouldn't have numbers, like how many breakfasts we serve?
Yeah, same fact. So it's all broke down by, so breakfast, full pay was $6,453, that was K-12.
my only question is 10 cents enough?
That's what I was kinda getting at.
That's where I'm going, but it was gonna take me a while if I gotta do the math, so. I didn't want the silence,
Gotcha, nope.
so.
I mean, it's just, it's hard to project because we just have no idea what the food costs are going to be. I mean, basically, you take our budget, you divide it by 9 months, and we have a dollar amount that you should try to be spending per month, but then when food prices go up 15% or 11%, it just shoots that right out of the water. I mean, and we still have to find a way to provide good meals for our students.
Well, and I just look at it like at home, there's no way I can feed my kids for
No.
$3.35 a meal. I just would not.
I mean, Chris, I wonder if there's been a handful of times in all the years that I can remember that we've been positive on the hot lunch deal. Closest I can go back to remembering is when we had about 325 students, and that was in a scale situation right then. Since then, we've had inflation, and we've added dimes, we've added 15 cents. I don't know if you'll ever catch it on a school that has 250 students and still provide a quality meal.
Well,
When you talk to Hankinson, they'll flat out tell you that they just feel that they know that they're gonna go over budget because they are going to provide a good meal for their kids. They know that going in. And they actually give breakfast away for free in the mornings.
From what I see, 6 through K on the lunch, if we raise 10 cents, would be $21.60. It would raise it $2,160 on the amount of that. Just figuring on full pay because that's the biggest number. The numbers under that are a lot smaller. And that's the most, that's the biggest number. There's 11,631 full pay lunches served 7 through 12.
It'd be I think I calculated just under $3,500 on
Yeah.
all the full pay, K through 12, at a dime.
And I don't know if our goal is, we have to decide what our goal is as a board. Is it to pay for it? Or do we wanna make this pay for it? Or are we okay with taking out of the general fund to cover, to make this affordable?
And you do run the risk, if you get it too high, you lose students eating your lunch, which then doesn't help your situation at all because you're not getting that money in. I mean, I know the checks I write for 3 kids to eat lunch here. And I know it's not much, you're like you said, I probably can't feed them at home for $3.25, but when I'm writing out a check for a month at a time for my kids, it's like, holy cow.
Yeah, I guess as far as long as I can remember, and John been on too, well, it's never been the goal to
Funded,
fund it
Right.
fully.
Right.
It's, COVID funded it fully.
right,
We don't wanna go there, so.
no, I think the goal is just to help fund it as much as we can without
Yeah, the
making our
food
families
prices,
go, oh my gosh, I can't pay for school lunches anymore.
our problem is the food prices
Right.
have went up,
Oh,
and we're not keeping track with them, so, you know, we talk about 10 cents, is 10 cents enough, but yet to keep it affordable, but
right,
I don't want at the end of the year to go, well, we went, last year we were 20,000 in the hole, now we're 35,000.
Right. No, I
We
agree.
didn't
go up enough.
talk about it enough, at the beginning, so,
Do we track their year-over-year increase in food costs? Like how do we look back and average what, I know the Copperville was 8%, and then is it, they just, it's 7 to 8% the food costs will go up?
Last year, the food truck was going up monthly.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's,
Yeah.
last year was an anomaly, that
Right,
was
I mean,
crazy,
we just-
but like,
and I know.
we
I
don't
know-
know if that'll slow down either, but that's one way if you kind of look at your year-over-year increase, and then you can take an average over 3 to 5 years as a way to estimate that increase and then see how much further
Yeah.
you need to go up to try to keep pace.
I know the menu's changed a little bit, cause Christine's like, there's no way we can. I mean, there's certain items that just, they've gotten outrageous, we can't. So she tries new things, but. So I don't know if the 433 to 452 is going to be enough to offset our issue with the 10 cents, or if we should look at 12, 13 cents, or.
Julie's asking if that's something the PTO funds can cover if we do.
If you ask the state about the reimbursements, the first thing they'll ask is, don't you have an angel fund? Don't you have churches that are contributing? It's like, that's coming from the state. That's, it shouldn't be, but that's what they'll say.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
I just know that there's money in the account, I'm on, I have help with that, just thinking, you know, that Colfax, I mean, last year, they didn't have any admissions fees for their students, so I know that, I mean, it's not the same as lunch, but
Sure.
like Kara said, I mean, everything's going up, so I know a lot of families, especially with like raising the levy and stuff like that. We keep asking for more money. There's funds that we already have.
And we have to go up at least 10 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
According
saying,
to the
PTO
state.
could cover this, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
donate towards that.
Yeah, that's something
It's a good suggestion.
to look into down the road.
And it's not really our issue, really isn't, lack of being paid, accounts being paid, generally speaking, right? It's just inflation and general increase is what we try to struggle with, so.
We did get a couple of donations last year. At least one, I think. That would pay off. Accounts.
It's hard to look at it and say, I'm gonna go up 15 cents to be on par with Kindred, cause I feel as if Kindred's population is a little different. Right. Wineries, you know what I mean, like, but yet, I don't know, I mean, I know we have to go up 10 cents, that's a given. That's been suggested or told that we have to. But I don't see that that's really gonna make a huge dent in our issues. And I don't know if going up 5 more cents does either really, but I mean, I guess every penny does help in the long run. Do you have to do the 10 cents on all three, like breakfast and K 6, 7, 12?
They'll have to work 10 cents.
10 cents.
Minimum.
Yep. But after that, they don't have have to go up even, right? Like if we, cause our breakfast is already kind of on the high end, so if you left your breakfast alone with just the 10 cents, if we decided to tack a little bit more on to lunches, just an idea.
So that's what we did last year, is to fix them so they weren't at $1. I think lunch is the year before, were K through 6 was $2.90. It had a weird number, 2.83 or 2.87.
Yeah.
So we fixed them so they were even numbers. I think lunch for 7-12 was 3.03.
I do like even numbers. I'll give it that.
Any thoughts on going above the 10 cents mandatory, or? If we don't go above the 10 cents, since we're mandated to do it, do we need a motion to change to 10 cents?
Yeah,
Probably.
because it's an increase, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though.
I was just checking because
Yeah.
it was mandatory that we do it anyway.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, it's just,
yeah,
I mean, I'm comfortable with the 15 cents increase too. It would keep your breakfast under $2, or at $2, you're not getting above the $2 for breakfast. I mean, if you compare that to a big, Happy Meal, or a value meal at McDonald's at $9, you're still getting a lot healthier and better meal.
When you figure, if you figure 20 meals for 4 weeks, right? That's only $3 a month, which I know in the scheme of things is,
It's an
it all
increase.
adds up,
Right.
but
Everything else has, 15 was the number that was jumping out at me for us to give a try to.
yeah, that's why I was talking about it, cause the 10 cents is mandatory that we do the 10. But is that with the 10 and the roughly 19 and 1 cent on breakfast? It's gonna help, but with the prices that we're up against, I'm afraid we're going to fall
Even
even
farther
farther
behind.
behind. And I don't, when we come up with this next year, it's going to be, we'll find out.
Yep.
So, that, if we're talking about 15 cents, the adult meals, would that cover the adult ones too, or we usually treat them separately?
They would all have to, because of
they have to be 96.
96 cents or greater.
Yeah, they all have to go up 10 cents. So we just go 15 cents across, if that's what the board approves.
Right now it's 4 and 5, right? 4 for our staff and 5 for,
$4.25.
4 for staff, 4.25, yeah.
Says 400.
It says 4 on here.
It's $4.25.
Okay.
It was 4,
Right, it was for the year before.
okay, it just.
Yep, it didn't.
So is that where we're thinking 15 cents?
Yeah, I feel like, I feel like we should, we have to do the 10 cents, and so then it just helps us a little bit more towards those food prices.
Yep.
I'll make the motion, we increase 15 cents, Chris.
Thank you, Jim. Motion by Manstrom to increase 15 cents, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dotson. Roll call, Manstrom,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Bernard,
yes.
Johnson, Oshitz. Motion to approve Northfield School Board Association Policy Maintenance Agreement. Which is $950.
isn't this kinda one of those things you almost have to do?
Yeah, if you wanna stay current.
Yeah, okay, that's what I kind of thought, but I just wanted to make sure I was.
I don't know what they would do if a board voted it down and didn't.
Well, so they have different tiers, and
Oh, sure.
we have the one that we have access to their policies. If you don't opt for that, then you have to come up with your own policies and then have them vetted by them, so.
Yeah, and that they legally look at it, and go, yeah, you can do this,
And
or
charge,
you
and
get it.
charge us for
And
that
you
side of
Yes.
things, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for over there,
Yeah.
so.
So you might as well just use theirs and make it cheaper.
This way you lock in the cost
Yep,
up front.
yep. I'll make a motion to accept the school board association policy maintenance agreement.
I'll second.
Motion by Dotson, second by Bernard, roll call vote, Dotson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yeah.
Manstrom,
Yes,
Bush, yes. Motion to approve 24-25 field bids.
So it's the same as in the past. We've got fuel bids from, CHS Dakota Plains, Leaderwood, and then also, Winder Oil, for, it would be, 10 cents a gallon off the posted pump price for gasoline and diesel.
And that's both places?
Both places.
And we got them both in this year one time?
Yep.
Okay, anybody like to make a motion to approve fuel bids?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Bernard, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dotson. Roll call vote, Bernard,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Johnson, Manstrom,
yes.
Bush, yes. Motion to approve consolidated application.
So, the board needs to approve our, application, that we have submitted for title funds. It's basically, our application, I believe, was shared with the board. And so now the next step, after it's approved, I believe, the first or second week of August, we have to have the budget set for the title. But this is the next step, we have to have just board approval of the application, which has already been turned in to the state.
Anybody like to make a motion to approve the application?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Manstrom, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Johnson, roll call vote, Manstrom,
Yes,
Johnson,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Bush, yes. Motion to approve initial resolution for general obligation,
So
building fund bonds.
the loan through North Dakota Rural Electric, we do have to make a resolution that with our initial 10 mills, in our building fund, that we would, use the funds from those 10 mills to, over a period of time, to pay off the loan of $250,000. So we need board approval.
That's for the,
That's for the water, the hot water, the sewer, and that's like for the loan through North Dakota Rural Electric.
yeah. Would somebody like to make a motion for the resolution for general obligation building fund bond?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Johnson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bernard, roll call vote, Johnson,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Dotson,
Yes.
Manstrom,
yep.
Bush, yes. Admin reports. Elementary principal.
Cleaning staff is doing a great job getting rooms ready, right down through the elementary. So, we're really nice down there. high school this week, Forest, they've been looking at the rooms. Summer school is underway, Mrs. Hosford, Mrs. Hofford, and Mrs. Longspike are running the different groups as they rotate around. Curriculum being ordered, a lot of it has arrived, you can, I don't know, probably not now down by the office, but they all came on the same day, so there's a lot of boxes that those have been delivered down to rooms, and then we're still working on getting a few other things, hunting some things down. Looking at scheduling options and plans based on various staffing scenarios, kind of touched on that earlier, and then, right now, just updating our Renaissance or IXL, Power School went through an update, and we're doing some stuff with that. We're working on a few other things with that, so. That's pretty much just going on admin wise. Tech report, summer updates, we're assigning devices, I put it on in the packet, but, we're updating computers, installed a few TVs, pulling wire, downloading updates, we're working a lot with Mr. Churchill to get him up to speed on things, and then he's gone now for guard for a couple weeks, and so Tanner Carlson will be coming in to help me on some stuff, because he knows the rundown of things, so he'll be helping with all of this over the next 2 weeks here, but otherwise just doing the usual, trying to get everything going by the time school starts, and then once Mr. Churchill is back, he'll be sitting down with Bob to work on a lot more of the higher end tech stuff. Right now it's a lot of just getting computers in line, make sure we've got everything downloaded and ready to go. We've also been working with Apt2G on a couple things. One, we've sat in a couple webinars with them, and a couple meetings with them to get Mr. Churchill up to speed on how to use the website. He's actually been posting some stuff, which is great. And then also we're trying to get now comes the process of getting some things, some verifications that I have under my name over to him, which you think would be a real easy process, and it has been ridiculously complicated. What we tried to do last was, the guy we were working with said, just click the box that says the person who was authorized no longer works there. And we're like, okay, because that's just what they usually do, and they must have, I don't know, Googled it, because they called like 10 minutes later and they're like, oh, Mr. Kern still works there. So now we have to go through a big process, so it's, we're working on it. I put it in here, I thought I took it out, but hopefully the YouTube stream is working, but it is. So that's great, and then, we're just continuing to get everything ready. What's going on?
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely.
Which may not relate to necessarily to you, Stephen.
No, absolutely.
We were looking at like how to pay fees online, if we found
Yep.
anything.
Yes, that'll be up and running. Yep, August, it should be ready August 1st.
Is it through PowerSchool or something else?
No, Power School doesn't offer an online payment
Yep.
system.
Okay, I was thinking it was PowerSchool.
No, they've been shutting some things, so we've been having to go out to find some different programs. Same with our instant alert, that's something we've been working on. Instant alert, we're working on using the website program. We've run into a few bugs, but it's partially working right now, so we're working that out this summer too.
Yeah, the alert system that we had quit doing it, so they quit offering it as a platform, so we had to find.
And then like back to like registration stuff, are we going back to the old way and just doing it at back to school night?
That hasn't been
Or
decided. yet.
okay,
We haven't talked
or
about
if we're
that.
doing 3 different days.
I've got a question on the electronic payment process. What's our fee on that?
It's like what we pay
Yeah, for the service,
for the service. I need to look it up.
Which
It's
one is
not
it?
just an online.
You might have it on the budget.
Yeah,
So it's
it's
not-
not just the online pay anymore. We have it's a whole system. The state actually is trying to get schools to go to this new system because it helps with inventory, production. So when they come in and do their full review like they did last year, they can just plug into our system and see everything that they need to see. It also allows for parents to do online application for free and reduced, so we're hoping that that will help people feel more comfortable in applying, because we're not seeing it, it's automated, so we just get told what they, basically we get told what
Is
they
this
are qualified
Is this
for.
Primero?
Yes,
27
but that's like
Okay.
a whole,
is what we
yeah,
pay
it's
at
a
the
whole
school
package.
for that one.
For the year.
Yep, 27.90 to be exact. That's what I got that one.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? High school principal AD report.
So Shrine game, our Warbirds did really well. We had, I don't know if you had an opportunity to watch them play. I think you can stream it still
You're allowed to that.
on your live event. Tyler played quarterback and had a really good game. Levi had an interception and had some nice defensive plays. And Jared Quam was our center. They don't get much credit, but he didn't have a bad snap all year, and that included the Shrine game too. So I've never seen that happen. Lineman, I'm kind of partial to linemen. 'Cause I play linemen. Don't get a lot of credit, but he had, I mean, it was really good. And then Richland County, the kids from Sargent County and kids from Hankinson, it was just really fun time. I got to, the Wittich kid had a catch in the game that's the best catch I've ever seen in the Shrine game history.
That kid's got hands. Oh.
So, anyway, it was excellent game and it was fun to be.
I was just gonna say that too.
Yes, it was fun coaching. It was a great time coaching. Thank you. And we got the bleachers, they're either, I don't know if they're completely up yet. Dominic was working on them this morning. We have, C-Squad volleyball opened up, I think it was the last week, position that will be opening up. And then, junior high volleyball coach, we have none from Lindrow that are interested, we have two from Weimar that two that are interested in that position, so Mrs. Larson and I are going to try to figure that out moving forward, talk to Belinda about that, so. Don't have a lot other than that.
Does that get shared in any way, do you know, like the interest level for positions?
Yeah,
like
we-
between those schools so that we can,
Yeah,
there's just always a concern that it's always like when you're heavy coaching,
Mhm.
but every time we have an opening, there's no one from Winterwood that steps up, so I don't know how you address that. But I would like for there to be broader knowledge of that, because it's frustrating
I know
to
the
hear.
high school ones are all advertised, so, yeah. I can only say that I guess I don't know for sure. What I'm told is, it gets sent out to all the staff and that it's advertised as well.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel your angst.
It's frustrating.
I do see it on their website, or on their Facebook posts, like when
Mhm.
they're, at least the high school coaches, I
Yeah,
didn't say I
yeah.
never saw anything on a junior high when you
Yeah.
come by, but I see all their job postings.
And I know they post it, but like,
Do they
communication
encourage
on the
it? Yeah.
backside that there was no applicants.
Yes, yep.
Do they share that piece, right?
Yeah.
Like
No, I
that,
agree.
that's why
It's
when
all when
your
your
coach was
coaches.
hired,
Yes.
because no one in your community,
Stepped up.
it's important to know that side of it, right?
Yes.
Like,
To
I
note
agree.
it some way.
yeah.
Yep.
Wow, some things don't change.
I mean, especially if you know that that sentiment seems to be recurrent in your community, I would hopefully would address it.
We would hope. If nothing else, moving on, superintendent report.
Rachel Hegseth has agreed to take our open bus route, both AM and PM route. Chuck is working with Rachel on a plan to help her get licensed and comfortable driving the buses, and so she can pass the test. So that's exciting news. So all the bus routes are full. I attended the NDCL Summer Conference out in Bismarck, June 18th to the 20th. Our session was opened up with North Dakota Attorney General Drew Wrigley, and he talked about, that was the actual day that they were kicking off the Keep It Local campaign. You know, he said that the property tax thing is probably it's probably going to be on the ballot. They have a large number of signatures. He said a lot of the things that they have listed are not valid. They just made a list of things that where money could be cut with no suggestions on how to maintain those or the impact of those cuts. So they are working very closely with a lot of county agencies, peace officers, fire departments, county fire, school districts, the school board associators, a whole large list of organizations that are behind to Keep It Local. Andrew Mariota, he was an interesting, gentleman, he was from New Jersey, from a very large school, but what I really appreciated is he shared some tough situations that occurred in their school. He just didn't tell us how they addressed it. He had us in small groups, work through it. It was really good to collaborate with some other leaders across the state on how we would deal with some pretty dramatic situations, and then he would kind of share with us, you know, and it was a very good situation, a lot of good time spent brainstorming through those. And then his last session, he talked about lead with a positive mindset. He says, we have a choice every day whether our glass is half empty or half full. Too much negativity in our society, just go on social media. So he said our staff and students don't need negative leaders, they don't need negativity in our schools, so we have to do our best to lead with a positive mindset no matter what we're dealing with. And we have to focus on things we have control over, so that was a really good message there to reinforce some things. Went to a breakout session, I thought it was very interesting. The state of North Dakota now is up to 11 pathways to licensed teachers. So other than just going and getting your 4-year degree, there's 11 pathways now to be licensed or meet your credentials. So that was very interesting. Basically, they shared their email address and said, share us your scenario and we'll try to figure out the best pathway to help people get licensed. Summer work around the building's going well. Sewer pipe replacement, the kitchen was completed. Couple little hiccups, but we've got kind of some plans in place. Falls Electric is now, I know they have all the supplies ordered. I believe they're waiting on some things to start working on the electrical. Tile repair should be completed by the end of the month. I come over from Wapiti to do that. Tyler and his crew continue to work on the water drainage around the building. We got some grass growing where they've kind of leveled out some areas and hopefully keep that water away from our building. We still do have a couple of concrete pads below some drain spouts that they've got to work on. But again, they'll continue to do that. And then Michael talked about it, the cleaning crew has done a fabulous job, even though considering working on a construction project in the kitchen, they've just done a really good job. So take a lot of pride in what they do.
Any questions?
I got one. Jay, have you and the transportation director, is there a temporary or a backup plan or an idea if Rachel doesn't get her, everything accomplished by August
So,
16th?
yep, so Bobby, they don't think, Bobby's not moving from the area till October.
Okay.
So she said she'd be willing to substitute
Okay.
in the meantime. We just have to communicate that with her sooner than later, so they're working with Rachel right now and we'll figure out where we're at. Yep.
Any other questions? With none, meeting adjourned.
So the next meeting is Monday, August 19th.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, in the ITV room.
When is next meeting? Yeah,
August 19th.
the first day was rough, I've been out a couple times, we've gotten better every
I
time.
am waiting on a couple more teachers.
She just got her new disc though, right after the floor. We haven't gotten out, we went on vacation as soon as we got it. Oh, she got it, I'm hoping tomorrow night or Thursday we'll get out there, or Wednesday, she's at work Wednesday, so maybe Wednesday afternoon we'll get out there.
I'm not supposed to help.
I know you're not. We've been trying to find, like, her cousin ran for MSU. And ran for part of the she ran, the mile. And I was like, do you know any, like, do you have any friends that used to throw that we could just work with a little bit for the rest of the summer? So she's supposed to be trying to think of some people. I know. It's been tempting, I'm like, God, I want to just call
Cody's been
Scott.
running?
Oh yeah, Cody's been around it. They all drag me up here to the workout room at least 3 or 4 times a week, which is why I don't something hot in there, because I'm like, this is miserable.
She is.
I know, it's crazy, like, we were in there at like,
So 25 football guys.
oh, I can't imagine. But like, even like, we went in at noon today, and I mean, it had to have been 85 already in there, just like, and it's just blowing like hot air, just, this is miserable.
And the, like,
And Zach went in there and worked out twice today. He's got one test and he's at 88
They know that's easy.
When I get the time,
It is spot.
so it's just
Some of
fun.
the general spot,
Good.
you know, it's the same way I want to put it aside, you know.
He's excited, like,
You know,
I've never
it's,
really
come on guys, it's the agenda. The first three
He told me the
items
other day
should be
that
pretty fast.
you know, sometimes you don't know what you got.
The consolidated agenda, yeah, that,
we were, I don't even remember what store we were walking in Shields, because we went to football gear already, we got cleats and stuff.
I
They could
try
probably
sometimes, I'll be like, okay, I'm
His
gonna
mom
ask a couple on the budget, just
kids looking at me.
because I feel like we should be, I mean, we used to go over, when it was individual, we'd go,
So I'm
what's
sure they
that?
were looking at your muscles and he's like, and I was way younger than we were.
I don't know if that's a thing, consolidated. We don't individually look at all, like I'll pick apart the budget for the month, on what we pay, on the bills, and go, okay, I don't know what this is, but there's one, I know what most of them are.
I'm gonna drop POD this year.
I already know it, so I just.
Oh, with the election.
Yeah, I'll let them get. What time is it?
Yeah, she gets all that at home.
Oh, I'm sure.
Conversation.
I think it'd be really good.
She is an astronaut, but you know, that's astronaut. Which way you really know that.
I had never done it, I didn't get one of these.
Everybody went in your meeting, or do you have to worry? No, I think that'd be good, I agree. Okay, cause that was my thing, I'm like, always like, can you guys hear, can you hear me? One time I was walking and you guys were like, are you guys walking?